I'm not supposed to like you. So irrelevant. What?
Women's Research Center and VGLTQ Plus Student Center at the University of Central Oklahoma. We're the only standalone LGBTQIA plus center at a college or university in the state of Oklahoma. We also, offer the only sexual...
No. Let's ask a question.
Oh, okay.
See, I'm an old lesbian, so I don't know what.
Yeah.
What is
You
it?
need to let her finish or you'll never get to the interview. She has to tell you everything.
Well, I don't know what BSIQ is, that kind of stuff. What is it?
It's just all the letters.
Okay.
But when we created our program, we modeled our program after Harvard's program.
Okay.
And Harvard's program started with BGLT because they were doing everything.
Bisexual, gay, lesbian, transgender. All right, got it.
So they were doing it alphabetically, and then the Q was added, and the other letters.
Queer. What other letters?
I, intersex, and then A, yes.
What is that, intersex?
That would be someone who has atypical genitalia or chromosomes, is not in the binary of anatomically male or female. About 1 in 1,000 people are born that way.
That's an education I would enjoy. Yeah.
And then also A is for asexual and other things too, could be out. Yeah, and then 2S is two-spirit. So we have all the different groups in there. So ours was modeled after Harvard's program, so we have the same order of the letters.
All right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's wonderful. That's real good, real good. You won't have any problem. I talk to you. Oh, I mean, really.
Okay, so. So if you could please tell me your name, and you told me your age, but not on camera, and also how you identify. So your name, your age, and how you identify, whatever that means to you.
Trella and Laughlin. My mother's name was Trella May. That's why I have to tell you the N. I don't know how I identify myself now. I think you identify yourself by what you're struggling against and what you're struggling for. There was a time in my life I was an intellectual. There was a time I was a cowboy. I was a teacher, college professor. I was a farmer. I was on the road dyke. I played in a women's band. In fact, we were just talking about that before you came. And Marie said something about, well, what kind of music was it? I said, it was, we made it up. And we did. Of course, we played country western too. And we were not popular, which is probably a good thing, huh? If you're popular, you better watch out. It depends on who you're popular with.
Absolutely.
Isn't it? Really? But we sang country western and then we made up music.
Do you remember any of the songs?
The songs?
Yeah.
Country western.
Oh, so, but I mean, do you remember any specific song that was your favorite? Did you
Oh,
sing?
that we made up?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I certainly don't. But it would be something, it was more like what is that word?
Improvisation.
Thank you. Yeah, that kind of stuff, you know, like, and I played piano and I had an electric organ. And these are old women friends of mine that I was all totally in love with. Played guitar, bass, electric bass, different stuff. And we all knew music, but it was not regular kind of stuff. You know, we'd take a little have a little hashish and play.
So where were you born?
Jackson, Mississippi.
And is that where you grew up, or is it Texas?
Where I grew up.
Okay.
My great-grandfather fought in the Civil War. Born and bred to be a racist, white supremacist, religious bigot. I'm proud to say I failed.
So how'd you get out of it? What happened?
Where's Marie? Marie, would you find Daisy Rudd's picture?
Sure.
It might be in my room upstairs. My mother, Trella and Marie, died when I was 8 months old. I'll talk real fast. And my father hired this woman, a mixed race woman, to care for me. Her father was a white man who had raped her black mother. Daisy and I were like this, totally. And I've always been, oh, this is my heart. This is my heart. This is my heart. Mrs. Daisy Rudd. Yes, she is. She and I were quite a pair. Because I was a little dyke. I didn't know what that was. She'd take me to the park, and I'd line up the white boys and said, you fuck with her, but I didn't say fuck, I didn't know the word. You mess with her, I'll knock you down. And I meant it. Because I loved her and I knew racism was wrong. But I was on the wrong side of the racist thing. Back then, I'm talking about the 40s and 50s. What were we talking about?
I was asking where you're from, and then so.
That's where I'm from, Mississippi.
And when did you come to Arkansas?
Well, I graduated from Baylor University, and I went to graduate school at the University of Texas. And the Back to the Land movement, do you know about that?
We were talking about it this week.
Yeah, the men and women. We were the lesbian contingent. You know, there was mainly straight men and women, and then we were this little group over here. It didn't fit in anywhere. And but I came to Arkansas to visit the men and women who had settled in Central Arkansas that we knew from Austin. So that's where I first got here many, many years ago.
Do you remember around what year that was?
Say again?
Do you remember around what year that was?
I'm 80.
Just, ballpark.
It all just, ooh. Let's
Like
see,
decade.
okay, let's see.
What decade?
It was, I went to Europe in '68. I can remember that. And taught in Rabble Wells in '68.
Oh,
Came
wow, that
back.
must have been interesting in 68.
And came back in '70 and Rabble Roused. I don't know when it was. That's because you rabble rouse, you don't remember. You smoke dope and drink beer and stuff. I'm serious, I'm not blowing you off. I'm
Oh, I know.
sorry.
No, it's okay. So, as you're in this, Back to the Land movements, what is your experience with activist organizations? And I know you've had a lot of different experiences, but if
Yeah.
we're focusing on, women's activism, lesbian activism, what are your experiences with those forms of activism?
Well, we were very discriminated against. I mean, we're all white women, so in that sense, that's ironic, But we were discriminated against because they were bigots about queers, and the gay liberation had not come out at that time. and we were just all trying to survive. Lived together in a big house, you know, cooked evening meals for anybody who was hungry. I love that about it. Just living, you know, but I think we're just trying to find our way and trying to find a girlfriend. I like that part too. And, you know, deal with jealousy and sex and stuff like that.
You're gonna love my later questions.
Good.
Because they are all about that.
Whoa.
Actually, we can go into them now because I'm doing both of these interviews. So
Hand me that picture right over there in the far right. Far right, yeah. That, yeah. This was my lover, who's now deceased.
I'm sorry.
Yes, me too. This was hard. All of my old friends are dead, every one of them. And I hope y'all will be my friends too. But my old friends, my stomping ground buddies are dead. Her name was Patricia. She was from Kentucky, working class lesbian, beautiful woman, smart. We were in love. And we knew the people in Austin who had bought land in central Arkansas. So we came over here, but we didn't have any money, and we couldn't live with them because the men ran everything. They always ran everything. And I fought with them because I'm not a nice person. I don't want to be nice. I want to be free. And I don't like put up with that shit. What is this mess, you know?
I think we need to get that on a t-shirt. I don't want to be nice. I want to be free.
Well, that's why I love seeing you. It's why I appreciate you so much. Because it wasn't like that. We were the ones out front. We were the ones taking the shit. Being disrespected. Oh no, y'all can't sing here. We sang, you know. Always criticism, disrespect, no money, cops. Cops didn't like us. We didn't like them, but we didn't try to kill them. It was just hard, fucking hard. And we were racist in the sense that we never thought, oh gee, we're all white women. You know, it never even occurred to us. We did have some women of color come visit, and they had a good time. It was okay, but you know, it's kind of not the way to deal with white supremacy. It's one of the ways, but anyway. So we moved to the South Fork of the Little Red River because my good friend, whose name was Laurel Daigle, and then Laurel Wise, met a chiropractor, a man chiropractor, who owned 1,000 acres along the Little Red River. And he was very impressed with Laurel, who anybody would be. I've got her picture here too. These are my sacred people. Anyway, and so he let Laurel live on that land. And we had an article written about us in Ms. Magazine. It didn't really tell the truth, you know how that kind of stuff. And Ms. Magazine never told the truth about hard struggles and the class struggle and women of color and stuff like that. Back then it didn't. But anyway, women had read about us, and so they all came to visit. which we thought was wonderful, except we got tired of picking up their garbage and their trash and their beer cans and their fast food wrappers, because they didn't have the consciousness that you have to live collectively on the land. You have to learn to love your mother and honor your mother and learn to live collectively, and most importantly, besides loving each other, learn how to give loving, helpful, not mean, honest criticism. And often, too often, the criticism had a little venom in it, and you can't have that. We're all fucked up. Come on, look where we were raised, you know. But there was a lot of anger because, and I don't blame a working class woman for being angry at middle class women at all. I was raised middle class. I'm totally fucked. And I'm glad. Now I welcome criticism. But it took a long time to get to that place. And being a Southerner, everybody assumed I was a raging racist, which I was not. I was a stupid racist. You know, I didn't know, but I read, and I talked to a lot of people, and I had began to make friends, and I joined anti-imperialist groups, and I traveled abroad, not as a rich person, but as hardly had any money at all. And it was so good because of my practice. I got respected, and therefore I got introduced to revolutionary people who were working for change. It was so good. It was the education of my life.
Can you tell me some of the places you've been?
Oh. Well, I spent a lot of time in Nicaragua. That was after the revolution. I spent time in El Salvador. I went to Cuba. I went to Palestine. I mean, you know, I went to Israel. I've been to Europe. I've been around a lot of places. But the point I'd like to really make about that is, what I think was such a gift to me was I didn't go as a tourist. Or if I did, I was a revolutionary left-wing, anti-imperialist, anti-racist, trying to learn good woman, you know, and I like that. And they knew it. So I was blessed, loved, and respected, and it was so wonderful.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, and but so many of my friends are dead. That did so much good for so many people. And we're in the struggle for a long time, and they came from different directions. Some about class, some about racism. Now we have all the things about ableism and other stuff. I don't even know those words. We didn't have that then. That's why I was asking you. I was not being an asshole.
Oh, I know.
Well, I always have to say that because I'm accused often.
I have a thick skin, so don't worry about it. It's okay. You're doing great. You're doing wonderfully.
Thank you.
So, were you very much involved with Spencer Haven, or just with
Not really,
Okay.
no.
So then that will
We were too rowdy for Spencer Haven.
tell me more about that.
Well, first of all, we were separatists. We didn't want any men around, which I later began to think was wrong. And it is wrong. But just like if you are a member of one of the oppressed groups, you have to spend a lot of time working on that. In other words, if you're a woman of color and you are trying to relate and live with people of white people, you have to deal with that all the time. 'Cause it's a fact of life. Should we wait?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Which car is it? Because they're all red. Is it the
Door
That's amazing.
in the middle of the war.
I bet you saw some atrocities.
Well, I know about trying to organize in the middle of a war
Yeah.
with a bunch of rowdy people.
Yeah, this is much easier.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I want to find a stuffed animal. It's so adorable. It's just like,
And we're running.
oh, we are? Okay. All right. So you mentioned separatism.
Yeah.
And that's actually one of our questions. So you say that you used to consider yourself a separatist and now you realize that, you know, you don't identify that way. Can you tell me what it meant at the time and why you changed?
Well, all of the people who were leftists or into the food movement, you know, organic food movement, all the shit we do, were mostly white people and kind of off in their own little groups. I don't think we knew what we were doing, you know, we were just trying to survive, stay out of jail, get enough money to buy food. I don't think we knew much, but we were learning fast, you know, and what was the question again?
You said that you used to consider yourself a
Oh, separatism.
but then you decided
Oh, yeah,
to
so
move
we're mixed groups. But at some point we got tired of dealing with male supremacy. Because if men are not working on their issues, just like if white people are not working on their issues, then they come up and they make a mess of everything. But what I learned is, you know, it changed to not being a separatist because we need each other, everybody. We need each other. And besides, I don't want to live with that poison in me. I fucking will not be a racist pig fuck. Excuse my language. I don't like it. It hurts, it hurts, it hurts. It hurts people, it hurts me. It's not unnecessary, it pisses me off. You know, and so I don't like any of that stuff. And I want to live in a beautiful world. I've seen some beautiful things. When I was on the east coast of Nicaragua, right? That was not a Sandinista stronghold at all. The Mesquite, and that akin to the word mosquito, but it's not exactly right. Indians were not much into the Sandinistas. In fact, because a lot of them had worked in America as maids and servants, had picked up attitudes very anti the people, and came back to Nicaragua not helping the revolution. That's the nicest way I can put it. Because of their experience in the United States. So it was a real different world, but I was on the East Coast, and we all knew that they were not happy about all of us lefties down there, you know, in the Sandinistas, but it's part of the experience and learning. And so I was sitting in front of a hostel, getting ready to go have something to eat, and down the street came a long line of people, and they were men in regular workers' clothes that were Nicaraguan, and in front of them was a Sandinista woman in a uniform. And I thought, hot shit, that's good, you know? But she didn't have any guns on them. Nobody had guns, and they were prisoners. I thought, wow, what's this, you know? So they went down to the schoolhouse. And what her job was to teach them reading and writing. And then they had discussion groups Boy, no, you don't want to beat the shit out of your wife. Why not? Think about that. You know, think about being exploited by the owners. And how wonderful is that? Instead of locking up somebody in a jail cell because they were angry and poor. Come on, you know, and seeing shit like that did it for me. Like, okay, we can do it, we can do it. But it's just a little bit here and a little bit there. And then the United States government, because I am an American, I'm an internationalist, but I was born in America, and I've taken it on to make my country change and to be a person I can respect and not be a racist pig fucker. I like that term, pig fucker.
So, and thank you for all that.
Yeah, I bet.
So it makes me think about then the next question, which kind of ties into this, which is, what changes have you seen, for good or for bad, or however you want to say? What have you seen, especially about the movements we've been talking about in particular, the women's movement, the LGBTQIA plus movement? I know the letters. I'll just say the.
I think movements fail, which is a heartbreaker. And movements evolve. So maybe they don't fail. They change out of what you originally thought, you know, you wanted to do. I don't know, because sometimes I get real down, you know, and I remember the people I met overseas. I met so many poor people who were so gracious to me and gave me the last tortilla they had, because I came with respect for them. What they have to put up with for no goddamn reason except capitalism. I hate capitalism. I don't care what you say. I don't like capitalism because I've never seen it work right. We can all share and we can help each other. Nobody needs to be rich. I believe I wouldn't eat the rich because they are not organic. But no, it's unnecessary. Unnecessary. And it's a mind fuck. You are mind fucked if you think it is. You have been conditioned to think a lie.
So with everything you've seen then, do you have hope for the future? Do you think that things are going to evolve again? That we're just in maybe a setback and then there'll be something different? What do you see and what do you think?
Well, I'm not exactly an activist anymore. I write letters and make phone calls and try to harass our representatives a lot, but not like I used to be. And I don't want to say it because I don't want to discourage you all, but I think we're fucked. I do, I'm sorry. It's just so big. And then I reach my own practice in life, and I think I cannot pick up a gun. Some of my dearest friends were in the armed struggle. And the photographs are there. Marilyn Buck, you know who she was. Judy Clark in New York. Men too. And you know, on the front door it says, "We're not perfect, but they're nuts." I'm not perfect, I don't have to be perfect, but I know what the truth is. And just because I'm fucked up and make mistakes doesn't mean I shouldn't be listened to. you know, and the rest of us, all of us listen to her. So I don't know. I'm not up on what's happening so much, you know. But if I had my druthers, I mean, I get mad at Biden all the time, and I voted for him. I call him a wimp, and then Marie gets on me. Well, he's better than the other one, you know, not a wimp. But I think he is a wimp. I want him to be out there, you know, fucking with them and really, but he's not, he's a Democrat. I'm a Democrat too. So I don't know, you know. And the other thing that's a problem for me is, how do you have a bloodless revolution? All revolutions have been violent with guns, because I don't think it's because the people want to shoot a bunch of people. I think it's because those who have it aren't going to let it go. They're not about to. So what do you, please listen to me. Just give me, you know, give me your machine gun. You're not going to do that. They hire the police. The police are for the property owners. Don't we know that by now? And it's not even about, you know, special police people. It's just a fact. They are hired by property owners to take care of their stuff. Look around. Go to a so-called ghetto. That's the bad word, I know. But, and look, and see, open your eyes. Look, you get there. So, you know, all of that has to change. Everybody has to have a good, clean, healthy place to live. Everybody! Everybody has to eat good food, not McDonald's, although I do eat their fish sandwiches. But, you know, everybody has to have that. Everybody should go to a clean school that tells the truth and teaches them how to play games with each other. Teaches men they don't have to be sexist. Teaches women they can be strong. You know, that, all of that is just a mind fuck for the rich. Hello, hello, hello. I could run up and down the street and say that. That's the way I know it. I know it's true.
And it's interesting because if we look at movements and change, and the things you're saying aren't even that radical, but they've become so radical now of an idea. And I think that's the thing too, that it's even the idea of people everybody having food, right? It shouldn't be a highly politicized radical idea, but it is, right? And so I think you definitely say a lot of things that are very impactful and make us think, I think, a lot. So before we get into the sex stuff, I would like to ask you, what is your most, if you had, and I know you have many, many memories,
Yeah.
but if you had to choose the most impactful or the best memory from your activism, what would you say?
It's hard to say. I have been blessed by being friends with some really strong, brave, brilliant women. My good friend Dorothy Turner was president of the Black Citizens Task Force in Laughlin. And she and I were running buddies. She's dead too. She taught me how to stand tall, walk strong all the time, and not take any grief, not believe their lies. She didn't take any shit. She worked for the hospital as a maid. She taught me. I miss her every day. Because she and other people, and some men, not many, because they still have that penis envy to work through. You know, they do. I don't know what that's about. Because I have a vagina doesn't make me better than anybody else. I don't care. It's what I have. You know, enjoy. But one's not superior to the other. The superiority crap is a big lie. I figured that out. You can't change my mind, so shut the fuck up. You cannot, because I know. It's a lie. It's a lie for power and superiority. And I don't want it. I don't want to be part of it. I don't want to have it in me. I don't think it's any fun. The most fun I had was working with revolutionary people, wherever I was able to meet them. It was great fun. I felt honored. So, you know.
Pause for a second. The camera's about to die. Okay.
Do we want to clapboard for the next?
Yes.
So clapboard.
Pain. And so there's more of a movement now to recover stories that also are other aspects of people in the community's life, because it becomes very reductive when we just talk about suffering and over, not the other times that people had. We erase this entire part of who they were.
Yes.
So part of my book is to talk about these erotic experiences, and not necessarily even sexually, but those things that empower us, right? And those things that in our lives that have made us feel empowered, erotic, however we want to define that, all these different things that are often ignored when we talk about this history. So that's what I'm excited. This is what my book's about.
All right.
Yeah. So if you'd like to, tell me a little bit about what dating and relationships were like in the 1970s and 80s. And then maybe how it changed in the 90s or...
Well, I wouldn't, dating doesn't relate.
Okay.
That's later.
Okay.
There's no such thing as dating because everybody was in the closet.
Okay. So tell me more about that.
Well, you went to the bar and you drank too much, which was killing you, smoked cigarettes, which killed you, tried to pick somebody up to go home with, but you didn't even know them. So that was it.
So you would say that things were definitely more non-monogamous?
Not necessarily. You were looking for someone. If you found somebody, then you did whatever you did. But it was like, it's not the same things now. Organizations or awareness or information or books or people who are supportive, you know.
And I'm thinking about the bars because I've talked to a lot of people about the bars in Oklahoma City in the 1980s, and you had to actually, at VJ's, the lesbian bar, someone had to vouch for you because the police raided it so much. So you had to actually have someone sign in to go into the bar, and vouch for you. You couldn't go in without being vouched for.
Sounds a good idea to me.
Yeah. So your experiences in the bars were more in Texas?
California.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you feel safe there?
I never felt safe anywhere. What's to feel safe? I knew I didn't fit in with those people, and I didn't like them, but they had the power, and they hated us. And they were gonna, if they could have, without repercussions on them, they'd kill us. That's my feeling from my experience.
Okay.
It took a long time for me to learn that.
I'm gonna move this.
I'm sorry.
You're good.
Who wants to believe that? You're just a good old Southern girl.
Right. So what you're saying is that essentially the culture you grew up in, right, was repressed about sex and sexuality. But when you moved to the land movement and you moved into revolutionary spaces, what were the ideas about sex?
Well, like I said earlier, I think one of the problems was that the dominance and who owned the land and where the energy was mainly straight people. So we were always a little troublemaking contingency, and they didn't really like it. When they started spraying Agent Orange in Arkansas, and we didn't want to have that. So we tried to get all the community, which are all white, younger people, straight, and then our little groupies, to do something about it. And one of my friends, who's dead now, all of my friends are dead. My friend Laurel, she taught me a lot too. She was an outrageous artist, musician. She said, well, I'll just get a rifle and shoot the fucker down. And all the boys would, well, no, they're being my, oh no, and they'd freak out. You know, they'd, fuck you, why don't you go do it? And it was like so many issues we had no way to deal with. And so the people who had the most power, which is straight people, and men, and white, usually ran everything, in my opinion. Because I'm on the other side.
Right. Is it okay if I bring Marie over to talk about your relationship for a minute?
Whatever you want to do.
Okay.
You're as free as you can be.
Thank you. Want to try the big mic? Big mic? Okay. We're gonna have to change the mic.
Yeah. In history.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Can you just say a couple things, your name?
Pardon me?
Doing a sound check. Can
Marie Howard.
You want to say your name?
Trella Laughlin.
All right.
So if you'd like to tell the camera who you are, or tell me and tell everybody who you are.
I'm Marie Howard. I was born in the north. I grew up in western Montana. And somewhere along the line, I met Trella in Turkey.
Oh.
We were both working for the University of Maryland. So we met there, and things were good for a while, and then we split up. And in the 90s, when I was teaching in Wisconsin then, and I got a call and said, this is Trella. And so we got back together again, and eventually when I retired, I moved down here to Arkansas because she did not like Yankees. Really? You don't like Yankees?
No, I didn't exactly say that.
You don't let the Yankees make fun of your accent.
That's what I said I didn't like. That's rightly so.
So I'm 87 now, and I moved here after I retired from teaching. So when I first moved down, we lived down in south of here, up in a mountain that I absolutely hated. It was away from everything. It was nothing but rocks and dirt and awful. And eventually we moved from there in here. We've lived here for almost 20 years. We moved here during the Katrina time. So we've been in this house quite some time, and I love it.
Your view is absolutely beautiful.
It's beautiful here, yeah.
You know.
So what year did you meet in Turkey?
1968.
Wow.
And we came back from Turkey in a couple of ways. I came back with a car, and Trella came back with 2 dogs, because we had 2 not Labradors, what were they? Afghans. And we came into New York and then drove up to northern Maine.
Wow.
And sold the car and bought an old school bus and turned that into a traveling thing. And drove down through New York City. I drove a school bus through New York City. And it was amazing. And went to the south, ended up in Jackson at her parents' place. I don't think they quite knew what to do with us. And then we went on to Texas, where Trella's friend Laurel was the somewhat wife, kind of wife. How was she connected to that guy? They were I don't know, legally married or they were somehow married. But she'd been with Trella all through Europe and so on, but we went back to Bastrop. And this guy had a big ranch that he let us stay out where we were. And Trella and Nedra and Laurel decided that they were going to go into Austin and find out how to make money, because that was always the project, how do you make money? And I was left out there with Slim, his name was, who had all these removable parts. He had a false leg, he had a false arm, he had a false eye, he had a toupee. And for 3 or 4 days, I helped Slim on the ranch. Never heard from him, never heard a word. And all of a sudden they came back, and they were all hyped up about something or other, and I just got so pissed. I thought, I'm not having anything to do with this. I threw everything out of the van and took off back to Montana. And in the process, broke a precious item that she had brought from Morocco, which I still
It's
hear.
kind of weird that you remember.
Well, no, you keep reminding me of that.
No, I do
So
not.
how do you remember this story?
But yeah, I went back to Montana, and I had a lifetime teacher certificate there, so I taught there for a couple of years. And then I ended up in Wisconsin, where I taught for the last 25 years of my career. So from there, I came here, and was there in the early mid-90s that Trella called, said there's a Trella, and I knew the voice immediately, and I thought, what am I going to do?
And wait, so that was after the 1968? So there
Yes.
was no, when, was there contact in between?
No,
Oh, wow.
I changed my life, and I didn't want anything part of. I was not a hippie. I was working class. I worked. I went to school and I worked, and that's all I knew how to do is work. And I didn't want any part of that because I didn't know how to do it. You know, I was a little older than the hippie movement. I grew up on a farm in Montana. I knew how to work, but I didn't know how to do that other stuff. I was not a musician. I didn't know how to do anything except work. So I didn't fit in any way at all. So I just, lived my life. And I liked my life. I liked it a lot. I was a good teacher. I had good students. I loved it. Loved every moment I was in school. I wouldn't go back now for anything. But I taught English, and I truly loved what I was doing. But I'm glad that I retired when I did.
It has gotten more
And
difficult.
we moved down here, yeah.
For sure.
Now, how do you remember that?
Where do you want me to start?
How you met, and then his journey, and then
What now?
just basically Marie's version. What do you agree with it? Do you see
I don't
anything
have to agree with it. It wasn't my life.
No, what I mean, her version of events. You think that's about right for the first breakup?
I think I was always critical of Marie's middle classisms. And
I wasn't in middle class, I was low class, honey.
Are you going to talk to me?
I stopped.
You were trying to get into
Yes,
the middle class. You can't tell me what I know.
yeah.
Thank you. And I was trying to get out, And I wasn't respectful of what that struggle was about for her. I wanted out. I didn't like middle class shit. And Marie was very disrespectful of us hippies, I might add.
I just didn't know how to do it.
That's what you say, but you liked us, and you liked our music, and you liked our food, and you liked sex, but you didn't, it made you nervous, and I understand now why it would, since I sobered up.
So what made you contact her after all those years?
Didn't have a girlfriend and bored. What's wrong?
She is honest.
Nothing.
It's lovely, it's fine.
It was true. I thought, oh, I haven't heard from her in a long time. Wonder where she is. And I called up Lieutenant Kuha, who I had had an affair with on the secret base, spy base, who knew Marie. And she told me where Marie was. And I thought, I'll see what happens. And so then I went up to see her. And I don't know, we visited.
So what happened then? You got back together?
I don't know that we are together. We are friends. We have been traditional lovers. I'm her first lover. We are sisters. We are
Married.
married 4 times. I want to tell them that we've been married.
I don't
4
get beyond
times.
2.
What?
I get 2 times. I don't get the 3 and 4. So I
It
will
is 4, at least 4. We got married the first time at the downtown city hall or whatever, and that lasted about 4 minutes before and this is true. I never lie. I don't have to lie to make my stories good.
Yeah.
About 4 minutes later, the right wing came in with some paper saying, "No, you can't," and slammed it down like an injunction or some shit like that. I don't remember. You remember that?
Yeah, I sure do.
Thank you.
When was that?
We were married in Iowa also. Trella wanted to be married along the Mississippi, so we went to Iowa. And we're
Sure
married.
enough. There were 2 homeless men in this thing out by the
Gazebo.
river. And I went in and I said, "Do you mind if 2 lesbians get married here in this place?" They said, "No." I thought, that's good. So we got married along the river in Iowa. And then we got married some other place in Iowa. And then we came back to Arkansas when they decided, well, let the fuckers get married. You know how they did. So 4 times really.
Wow.
I've got my thing over here.
There's 2 certificates there in the wall, yeah.
I've got my marriage certificate over there.
One from Iowa and one from
married.
Arkansas.
Yeah.
I've seen them.
We had to have one from Arkansas just to absolutely prove that women could get married in Arkansas.
So
They might be taking that away now, but
right.
they can't take those
What
certificates.
I had to learn, because I've been through being in love with more than one woman, which has been wonderful to be in love. It's like being on drugs, you know. It is, isn't it? And you go, oh. And then reality goes wham. And you have to pay the rent, and you have to see, you know, that she doesn't pick up her clothes, and whatever Marie does to me is awful. And you get into reality. Then you get into what kind of relationship do you want? I want to be constantly growing as a human being. I want to learn till the last moment of my life. I want to be kind. I want to help make the world better. I want to go to Montana and see where Marie grew up. And I try to be a person I respect in my relationship. I don't own her. She's not she's my good friend and a person I respect and I want to be with. And so that's what we do. And we try to grow and learn and be, what word would you use?
Together. To be together. What we're working out now is because we are so old, the next step is that one or the other of us is going to die first. And we're trying to figure out how to handle all that. So first of all, that means we have to accept that we're going to die. But at our ages, you have to. And then how do you handle that, so that it works okay? I've made an agreement that she can die first, and it may happen.
I hope so. It's hard, I'm telling you. When I started out flirting with girls, I didn't know it was going to be like this. It's reality. The bar, pick up somebody, go home. That's part of it, but it's the reality. People get sick. They have to go to the hospital. The struggle to get respect for gay people, men and women, and I don't even know about what trans people go through. I read, but it's not quite the same thing. And, people who change sex, I don't know about that. I read, but that's a hard one. So, but why should it be? It's none of their fucking business. I don't ask straight people who have money and run everything what they do in bed or who they fuck or how they do it. I don't care. I hope you have fun and you're
As long as it's not with a 10-year-old girl.
What?
As long as it's not with a 10-year-old girl.
Well, that's another issue. Yeah, that's another issue.
But I find, I know Joe doesn't quite agree with this, but I find suddenly that I'm a little more positive than I have for some time. I know I'm coming in contact once in a while with people your age, in their 30s, or like in there somewhere, and there is a lot of activity, and I didn't know that. The last time I knew young people was when I was teaching seniors in high school, and I mean they were wonderful, but now I'm coming back in contact, not a lot, but here and there with people your age, and I'm impressed. You are
wonderful.
Doing things, and you're thinking things, and you're active.
Now you came here to talk to us. I love it.
Yeah,
How old are you?
I'm 21.
You want to go around and tell our ages if you want?
How old are
I'm
you?
23.
23.
I'm 18.
18, all right.
18.
I'm
Beautiful.
23.
23.
23.
21.
I'm 40.
I'm 22.
So look at, I mean, you're all under 40.
Thank you.
Oh, what? It's
Yeah.
ages.
No, it's not.
No.
I'm in a youth industry, so I always
Yeah.
make jokes
Yeah.
with my students.
But I love, your life only begins in the 40s.
Oh, it's so much better.
Yeah.
That's what I tell them because I'm like 20s sucks. I was like 30s better, and then 40s are.
And the 50s will be fantastic.
That's what
60s
I've
will be
heard.
It's not until you're in the 80s. A friend of ours says that when you turn 80, it's like walking through a minefield. And that's
So
really
I've
true.
noticed, and the
It
women
is
who
true.
raised me and I love so much.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's
Yeah. 80 is
the
the hard part. And we're both beyond 80.
You have to prepare for what it means to die. And I was brought up in a white supremacist, Bible thumping, bullshit, lying pig fucker. Ooh, I got that in. I did. I don't like any of that. It's not like I try to be respectful if I'm around that traditional crap because they believe it. And so why do you want to fight with someone? Unless I want to fight with them. Then I do. But okay, fine. But what I've seen, how much it hurts people, I believe in spiritual values. And they don't have anything to do with one particular religion. I've seen beautiful Buddhist people who I really enjoy being with. They're quiet and love and the music, stuff like that.
We had a lunch date with Ingrid and George at 11:30 today. And I went up at 11 o'clock to tell 12 she should get dressed. And she was sitting out there, she was sitting out talking to her plants. And I thought, that's wonderful. You were talking to your plants. Of course, of course.
Well,
The natural world is fantastic.
yeah.
And that connection, and you know, you're inspirational to us in so many ways, and that's why we're here too, because we want to preserve these stories.
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful you're
and
doing
honor
it.
all that you've done, because you're talking about us and how you're so proud of all we're doing, but you laid that path for us,
Yeah.
and we couldn't have done it otherwise.
That's absolutely wonderful.
I would disagree with that.
Well, somebody had to do it.
I would disagree. It depends on how we define it. I'm not gonna go into it.
Right, but
Yeah.
but take the compliment. Yeah. We just want to say thank you.
Well, thank you.
Accept it, yes.
Yeah, just
I
there
had
you
a lot of
go.
fun. I couldn't, wait a minute, I want to say this though, because,
Well, I still have one more question, but yeah, please.
Okay.
okay, I couldn't have lived differently without coming out into real. I couldn't have lived differently. I was unhappy, an alcoholic, destructive. I tried to kill myself because I couldn't find myself. That's our story. It's not our fault. It's the fault of the lying system. But you have to deal with it and heal yourself and love yourself and get rid of your bad habits. I went to a lot of therapy, but I have to say most of it wasn't helpful. And I try to tell some of my lesbian friends that said, they don't say much, and I think it's horrible what happened to me. In fact, I told Marie, and she didn't say a word, like, oh. And it was because I needed help. And I went to a male therapist, and he unzipped his pants and pulled his erect penis out. Twice, 2 different men. Bona fide, certified. And I took great offense still. It hurt me a lot.
Yeah.
I needed help. I didn't need to see his erect penis.
That's awful.
Yeah, it's awful. It's wrong. And he got away with it, you know, and I got some more hurt and burdens and went my lonely way, trying not to kill myself. So when you say you want to hear about the positive and not so much the hurt and the pain, there's more hurt and pain than the other, I hate to tell you. But not because of us. Well, we can pick it up and do it. We can be collaborators, you know, and hurt ourselves and each other. We can be collaborators. But we didn't start it. I didn't start that. I didn't want to be like that. I was forced. And now I know better. Now that I'm gonna die. Oh, God, what an irony. What an irony. Now that I get it all queered up and I'm a happy, healthy person, what an irony. I'm ready to die. Well, okay, I guess that's better than not being ready to die, but I'd like to live some more without all the garbage they put in me. I know you feel that way. I know you do. I know you do.
What's your last question?
Oh, sorry, I was getting really into the conversation. Okay. My last question is then for both of you, or it's more just an opportunity. Is there anything else you want to say on camera? Anything else you want us to know? Anything you want to add to the book, to the documentary? Any story? Any idea, thing that you did not convey or want to clarify? I want to give you the opportunity.
It's hard to be both blessed and cursed. And I think these last years we've been both blessed and cursed. And sometimes I lose track of the blessing. And then trouble will bring me back to the blessing. And so I can forget about the cursing for a while. For example, Tuesday morning they're going to have a January 6th Commission meeting on, and I can hardly wait. I want to hear that. I want to hear how those idiots have misused their power, I want to hear it. So that makes me into the blessed. And I can't say that I'm cursed in any way at all.
Thank you.
As I was growing along the way, I realized one day that I had to do a lot of work on myself. Therapy, stop smoking, stop eating meat. I love meat, but I just can't do it anymore. Clean up your act, you know, all that stuff on your personal thing. But that wasn't enough, because a lot of the people I lived with were into that. And I like too, but does not create a revolution. And then I knew all these revolutionaries and got involved in that and learned and stuff. But they thought it was pretty bourgeois, you know, to work on your Now, wait a minute. You have to do both. You have to develop yourself. You have to change yourself. You have to listen. You have to grow. You have to work hard. You have to love. And then you have to get in the streets. And if you're not willing to get in the streets to demand justice and compassion, then you're full of shit. Because it's just for yourself, so you can feel good about yourself. Well, that's not enough. So you got to do both. You have to work on yourself, and then you have to find some group. I don't know if y'all are a group or not a group, doesn't matter. But some people to work with, you know, that you can fight for change and learn about each other and respect each other and learn how to give loving criticism. It's not about ego. It's about, we got to do better, and here's what I've learned. Self-criticism. I used to, oh, no, I didn't like that. Now I love it. If I can, I mean that, really, I do. If I can find out something I need to change, I say, glory, hallelujah. Because most people won't teach me anything because I'm such a strong person. Marie does. Marie teaches me. Friends teach me. But you know, that's one of the impediments of being a strong personality. People don't think they think you need to change, but they're not going to tell you because they're scared of you. That's true, isn't it? Yeah. I'm really glad y'all came, and I hope to see you again. I hope you'll leave me your addresses.
Oh, of course.
Name and address, and we'll have a party.
Yes.
Sometimes we'll invite you back.
We're only 3.5 hours away.
Yes, I'm an excellent cook.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I'm a very good cook. I can cook Southern, cornbread, black-eyed peas,
Ooh.
turnip greens. I can cook salad. I can cook Italian. I like cooking. I like eating is what I like. And thank you for coming.
Well,
It's
thank
great,
you so
great
much.
thing.
Yes,
Wonderful.
It's been amazing. And the information you've given us, the insight, the reflection. I don't know if anybody wants to say anything.
Both of you are so amazing, and I'm so glad we got to learn from you, and
Louder.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. I love this.
You have important work to do. Don't think you don't. It's going to get harder too. Just learn how to grow, learn how to love yourself, learn how to heal, be honest, and listen to what people have to tell you. Find a group to work with and get on it. You know, we don't know. They blow the planet up. These people are fools.
But you're doing the right thing right now. You're doing
Yeah,
good
you're
stuff.
doing good
You're
work.
doing good work.
That being said, we do have like just little, they're just not anything great.
And I have a medal for being in an emergency landing.
For what?
That's from being an emergency landing?
Wow.
I was wondering whose that was.
American Airlines.
Impressive.
Wow.
Look at this.
I don't know my mailing address.
Huh?
I don't know it either.
Then just do 50 North University Drive.
She's a good friend. I love her.
No, let me go get my phone.
You don't have a license on it?
What?
It's not a license?
No, it's a different address. I've moved like 3